Good evening out there. Hello everyone. We hope you have an amazing time. And welcome to this live streaming with our amazing and very talented Sandra Åberg. Sandra, can you please tell a bit about yourself?
Yeah. We're super excited to be here today.
Very much.
It's fun. They chained me to the table. Anyways, no. Well, I've been a fashion wedding photographer for about 12 years now. 12 years. Mainly operating outside of Scandinavia, but sort of has returned home now, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I've shot weddings around Europe, mainly in Italy and France for many, many years. I also shoot weddings in Scandinavia. All of our clients are American, Hong Kong, like very international couples, so yes. That requires that kind of lifestyle. And now during COVID, we've been home and we've enjoyed some peace. But that's what I do for a living. And I thought I would just maybe show a few photos, just to give people a feel for what kind of work I do, if you don't know me.
So maybe I will tell you a little bit about tonight's agenda. So what you guys can expect. A little bit about myself. Myself is Hong Kong and I represent Sony Nordic. I'm taking care of the professional photographers and photography, and also among very professional ambassadors as well. Sony European Imaging Ambassador, which you are one of them, Sandra. Thank you very much for that. And during this night, you will experience a lot of great stories, actually fairy tales from Sandra. So you will be introducing to how she started photography, and also what she started with, and also what she's using today. You will also have a peep into her photo bag and see what she's using as well. And also we might be talking about what's in the future and what Sandra is expecting that Sony can improve in the coming years when it comes to her industry, wedding fashion photography. So let's try and do that. And please don't feel shy. If you have any questions, just write in with a question. I have a screen here where I actually can see the question, and then I will just pop in the question, and then we'll take it from there. Perfect. So please, Sandra, a little bit about how you started the business.
Yeah, and do feel free to ask questions, stop us at any time, write in, because we're here for you guys to answer anything. So really, I started out not wanting to shoot weddings at all. That was the last thing on my wish list. I wanted to shoot fashion, and I lived in Milan, and I wanted to do, you know, really high-end fashion photography, couture, stuff like that. And somewhere in that universe of fashion industry, I got really lost and didn't like the people, the vibe, everything that was going on. It was everything that you might fear. And so I was like, okay, that wedding thing, I might just try it. And so I did try it, and I hated it. I had a couple of photo shoots with wedding couples, and I thought, this is absolutely not creative. It wasn't my thing. It was very people standing under a tree, getting married, and it felt very uninspiring. So at some point, I thought, well, there must be a way to do this that I can enjoy. And so then I started to mix in sort of the fashion universe that I came from with the weddings that I had. And I think that combination for me is sort of what started my success and brand, and it just sort of grew from there. Yeah, and I thought I'll just show a few photos for people that don't know me, don't know what I'm doing, because otherwise it can be frustrating to listen to.
It will be a treat for your eyes.
Yeah, so we'll see. Our branding is super important. It's not just me. I have a team of photographers and people with me that I contribute a lot of our success to, because without them it surely wouldn't be possible. This is a bit of my work. I'm very known for a very ethereal, romantic feel. This is a mountaintop. Here's a bride. They're all real couples, and I just happened to have the fortune of shooting beautiful people in beautiful locations with stunning setups that it's just truly amazing. So yeah, just flipping through a few photos. This is South France. And somewhere along the merging of sort of weddings and fashion, I think Vogue came into that picture, and I had the fortune of shooting for Vogue as well, which I think set off my career a lot, which really helped me spiral forward, do more of what I really loved, which was the weddings and the fashion universe combined. Definitely mountaintops is a preferred location. Anything in nature is amazing. And that's really where it went. So I think that's what I've done, and that's where we are today.
It sounds like a fairy tale. So you combine the fashion with your wedding photography, and wow, and then you end up as a professional wedding photographer.
Yeah,
that's amazing. And of course, as a photographer, it is very important with the equipment you use.
Yeah.
So when you started, I think that you started with DSLR cameras, right?
I did. Yeah. I started. I'm not that old, so I started with the DSLR. Yeah. DSLR. Yeah, exactly. And I used to shoot Canon for the longest time. It was what I started out with, and I think a lot of people just sort of randomly step into something, and that becomes what they do. Not really by choice. It was just my first camera was a Canon, and I sort of just went on that. And then you acquire lenses, and you don't switch, right? You get very stuck in your ways, and you know you can perform with that equipment, basically. And then I was not ever going to switch. I didn't think. I was a bit of a dinosaur.
I think you're not the only one.
I think a lot of people, once they're set on something, they know they can produce with that equipment. They're not daring to sort of go anything different.
Yeah, true. Because when you are known into a system, of course, you feel safe. You're in your comfort zone. And if something new comes, you might not think about that because you want to stick to that comfort zone and work with that always. But when did you really hear about mirrorless cameras?
I heard about it, but I was like, no, I'm not really interested. I'm shooting film, which I love, which is for me like a true passion to shoot film and have that old school way. And I thought, well, mirrorless is just going to be so futuristic, like it felt like so not what I wanted to do in terms of because film photography was such a passion for me, so it seemed unnatural to go to something so modern to me, again being a dinosaur. And then I guess then I heard about it and I tested out some cameras and I was like, okay, it's not terrible, but it took some getting used to. And then I shot a few weddings on the mirrorless, and that convinced me.
Yeah.
Really, actually.
I think that one day you got the opportunity to try the more professional mirrorless for weddings. You were contacted by Sony.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you had the opportunity to really test it out. Yeah. In your real surroundings.
Exactly. Yeah, I think definitely trying it. Had I not tried it, there's no chance that I would have dared to even take that step. But I think once I tried it, I was still hesitant. There was a few things that I thought were so different, especially looking through the viewfinders, very different than the old cameras. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can ever get used to the digital, how it looks digitally. But then after a while, like as everything else, you get used to it and you find the advantages of it. And today, going back, I talked with a colleague the other day and we talked about going back to shooting not mirrorless. And all of a sudden you're so handicapped because you're trying to operate through a viewfinder and seeing the photos through the viewfinder, because you can look in and you see your photo there and you can see if it's sharp. With the press of a button, you know that it's what you want. And when you don't have that, all of a sudden you're running off trying to look at your photos in hidden, and that becomes very, it's just, I saw immediately that became a problem for me, at least. And then I basically just, from one day to the next, I guess, decided and switched and sold all my old gear. And we shot our first wedding, the whole team, on Sony cameras. Everybody a little bit nervous, you know, because it's the first time. And I think we all had like a manual, just in case there's a manual, but just because you're so out of your comfort zone. And it was kind of funny because like the whole team was like, oh my God, what if something goes wrong? Do you know exactly how to switch this back to this or how to do this? And once we were going, there was no more of that. I don't think anybody looked back. I think there was one time where you needed some adjustments that had to be done and someone knew how to do it. But we basically shot the whole wedding on the Sony cameras. And
that's I like.
Yeah, you like it. And we came home and I was like, well, here comes the second step, right? Then all of a sudden now you have to try to edit these photos to look like your own. And that I was terrified of. I thought, no, definitely, we're going to send them out. We're going to get someone to do this because it's going to be too hard. But it turned out to be incredibly easy because actually all the presets I had for my Canon camera more or less fit with some tweaks to adjustments to them. They really worked really well.
Yeah, I remember you told me that you had some hiccups in the beginning, of course, but there's the one guy you met in, was it in Nice or somewhere, when you went to Way of Mom, he convinced you actually why, with a viewfinder, remember that?
That's true. There was a viewfinder that we were hesitant about because I was used to seeing through that other lens, and especially with film where you're shooting completely blind, you know, and then that was so different. But then I realized that once you look through the viewfinder, what you see is what you get. So all of a sudden you can create more with creativity. You have more space for that because you don't have to worry and you don't have to look at the back of the screen. There's also something distracting in shooting and taking down your camera, even for the person that you're photographing. I find it distracting once you put down your camera, that space that you created between you, it gets a bit disturbed. From looking at the back, they get a bit self-conscious. Now you can even look at the photo in the viewfinder without them noticing. And if it's on silent, they think you're still shooting. So I really found that like super beneficial. And that was pointed out to me by a colleague, that's true. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a real eye-opener for you,
right? It was,
So
it truly was, yeah.
And also, I believe that being professional, you need a lot of equipment. So being able to travel light and with light equipment, small equipment, I think that's also a benefit.
Yeah, it has been a huge, I mean, that was always our problems. Going to the airport, we have these little tricks, you know, getting through the airport. I worked with my partner Joe, and we always had these, like, he would walk in front, and he'd make this, oh, my wife made me carry all these bags. He'd make this whole scene about his annoying wife. And then I would walk in later and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I don't know my husband, I don't know where he is, and I have his bags. And we would have this whole back and forth played out. And it always worked pretty much. I think one time, because there was so much gear, we had to have several bags, roll-on bags, and it was always a problem. Whereas now, we travel with one bag each on the back, because now I can even carry my gear on the back.
Yes.
Which before that was not going to happen through an airport. So
oh, great,
yeah,
great.
So that's actually, and it is true. I thought, how much lighter can it be? You know, like, can it really be that much lighter? I think even people watching are like, what is it, an infomercial? But it truly, like, it truly was
because
much lighter.
You think about, you used to use full frame DSLR, so this is the big size. But today you can have full frame mirrorless in a very compact size, so you can work professional with a better workflow. Yeah. So I know that you brought your bag with you.
I did.
Yes,
I did.
You brought the bag.
Let's see if we can lift it.
Yes, it's so light.
So light. Still kind of heavy, but we have a lot of stuff in here. Do we have this from the above? Yeah. Computers, laptops in here, of course. This is an awesome bag from Lowepro, the Pro Tactic, that we travel with 2 of these. We have one a little bit smaller, so usually it's this big one and one a bit smaller. and usually never any rolling bags because they are like scary for airports.
Yeah,
always becomes a problem.
With a backpack, it looks very innocent,
yeah,
right?
you look innocent, and usually we have it over one shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, so it looks like it weighs nothing. But so what we travel with is basically this setup. When we do video, we have more stuff as well, which we've started doing. But this is the basic setup. So we have 2 Sony cameras here.
Yes, 2 bodies,
2
full
bodies,
frame
yeah,
cameras.
Exactly.
A7R3.
Yeah. We have the Profoto A1s.
Yes.
Usually have 2 of those, so one would be in the other bag. We have the 85, which is a lens that I absolutely love, and the 55, which is also a lens that I love. Those are probably my 2 favorites.
Yeah. The 85 is the 1.4, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
It's a GM lens, a
amazing.
G-Master lens.
Yeah.
There's this
it's
one.
really, really good.
And this one you use for portraits, of course.
Portraits, and I use it a lot actually for details. I find it amazing for details, although you have to step back a bit further than you would otherwise. Like with the 55, I shoot details as well. But this one just gives amazing bokeh, amazing background, and I really love that.
Sharpness is fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And what else do you
We have the 16 to 35. I mean, we use the zoom lenses, so we always shoot. I never shoot by myself, so I'm always in fixed lenses most of the time, and the second shooter is mainly always in zoom lenses because we work around each other like this.
Yes.
So I definitely love the 35 as well, and this little bad boy here, the 24, we use a lot for some wider scenes with a couple in them, especially if we're in the mountains or any kind of beautiful scenery. This lens is amazing. So these are really mine, and no one gets to touch them ever.
These are yours, hands off.
But the rest we take turns. Then I have this, which is, this is
Bracelet.
special Sony gear. Soon coming out. This, I have a million of these. They're like little braids. Like I even have like some veil and stuff, and I use it to shoot through the lenses. So I always put something in front, which is what you'll see in a lot of my photos. If you see them, there's something sort of poking into the lens, and you can see it like this. It creates that kind of hazy look that you don't always, of course, have unless there's the weather for it. So that we use a lot. And we have the camera straps, which is some that I've designed as well from Jam Darling.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for setup. I mean, we have the 70 to 200. That's mainly Joe that always sits on that one. And what I really think is cool about these cameras is that they can be so silent. So my second shooter is always on silent.
Yeah, silent shooting.
Silent shooting.
Oh, that's a gift. That's a gift for wedding photographers.
It is.
Because you don't want to make sound. You don't want to irritate the guest or the couple, and then you can just go around and shoot silently.
Exactly, and especially when I'm shooting family portraits or anything where I really need people's attention, and we always have a second photographer on that gets a different angle. It's very distracting. If there's click, click, click over there, then they'll all look there, and it's hard for me to have them stay focused with me. So for that, silent shooting just does it. And for church and ceremony, I mean, then we're all on silent.
Yes, then you have full attention.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can really get the moment that you want.
Yeah, the only thing to look out for is really if it does the banding, but you'll know that within the first frame, and then you don't go silent.
You will see it immediately.
Yeah.
And then you can turn on the mechanical shutter then.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the focus, now we're talking about the photos. Do you see any difference between the focus system in the mirrorless compared with the focus system in the DSLR, like the hit rate? Do you?
I think definitely it's a big difference, and I have actually some photos in here that I'll show a little bit later. But it has made a big difference because shooting before I like to shoot at like 1.4, like as low as I can, or but for that, you always take a risk. It used to be that I felt like I took a risk, but with these cameras, because of the eye tracking and everything, I mean, we barely ever have a out of focus photo anymore, which used to be a huge hassle. You'd cull through the images and you'd be like, oh my goodness, this one's amazing, but it's out of focus. And that doesn't happen anymore, which makes it a problem to cull because there's too many photos in focus. It used to help us a bit, I think.
You just need a bigger memory card.
We do, exactly. No, but it's a game changer. It has really helped us a lot, and I know a lot of people might think can that really be true? You know, can it really make that big of a difference? But I would be terrified going back. Like, I would be really scared to go back to the other one because it did make a difference. And some of the shoots we were on, when you're stressed and you're shaky and you're fast and because it is wedding and it's high stress.
It is.
That eye focus that just catches that right away saves your day. You know, it really is amazing, and it works so well.
Great to hear that you really like that tool as well.
Yeah. No, I think it works really well. I didn't think it would, but it does.
Okay, so maybe you have you have some photos you want to talk about?
Yeah, I thought we'll show a few photos. It's always nice to see it in images. And you can see at the bottom of the screen, it always says what it's shot with and on. For people that want to know. We'll see here's a few photos. This is from the Amalfi Coast. Beautiful settings. I made a little Y Sony because for me to change was really a big step. And I think for most people to switch over or to not switch over or to even consider is something scary. You know, so I gave my points. And here's one example of the lightweight gear. We like to get up and shoot in the most annoying locations.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because it's truly create something stunning. And if you have too heavy gear, you can't do it. Or you don't want to do it. You can't get yourself to actually push through it. So that makes a big difference. Here you can see I have a photo of the bag is packed and ready to go. I put on little labels and all the labels just so I can figure out what's what.
Yeah, nice.
Just because when you see it from above, you want to be quick and get them out. But again, in the mountains, this was a winter wedding at a mountaintop, and this couple just had us with us. We were two photographers, me and Joe. And we took a ski lift to the top of the mountain, and we had to hike a long ways to get to a place that would shoot this. And with the lightweight gear, it's possible. We actually only brought this one bag, filled it with what we knew we needed, only the minimal, you know, the essentials. And you can't do that. If you have too much heavy gear, you're going to exhaust yourself. And plus you're always carrying the couple stuff as well. But this is a good example of that. Then another thing that for me was really important that we already talked a bit about is that it's quick, it's sharp, and it is sharp, you know, it really is. And with the weddings that we shoot, where you have 5 minutes to do 40 group photos, you can't afford to use too much time, and we don't use too much time anymore. We just run through them, and people move and they have fun and they do all kinds of weird things, and you need to be able to capture that, and this does the job. I mean, I really have been amazed with how sharp the images are, and it's more been a work to sort of get them to, I guess to my style. I don't like super sharp images in the sense of contrast, so that I'll turn down a bit in post, but that would be the only thing that would be like a disadvantage, but that's something you can correct. Here's again, it's just sharp, shooting at 1.8, you know, and it's just always amazing. The eye focus is one of the things that we talked about as well, that I think is a big advantage. And even with animals it works, which is cool. I mean, we don't shoot that many animals, but we do sometimes, and I find that so fun. You know?
So remember to turn it on human if you want to focus on the human's eye.
Exactly.
It's not set on the animal eye.
So it's not getting the wrong one. Getting the dog in the wedding photo. Yeah, and this is the image that I wanted to show. This was a wedding that we shot very, very high stress, south of France, celebrity wedding, and we had about 5 minutes to get the shot before sunset. It was really low light because the sun had already set, and the girls weren't there and they couldn't get in. You know, we had that whole stress situation. Joe was trying to cart these girls in, and they were all wearing high heels. You know, so they were like, "No, I can't walk any faster." And he's like, "Really? The sun can't wait for you." Yeah. So it was so stressful, and we had only this one opportunity, and Vogue wanted this photo as their main image for an editorial, wedding editorial, as part of their wedding. And we get them in there, and I literally have minutes to shoot. And because I'm so panicked, I'm shaking like crazy, and this was back in the Canon days. And I'm shaking, and I'm trying to, so I'm shooting film, and I'm trying to shoot also my Canon camera. And you can't see what you're getting. You think it's sharp, and you think you got it, and you're in such a panic that you had the time, the time's up. And when we get out of it, I mean, the photo's still amazing, it still made the magazine, everything was good, but the image is not sharp. And for me, that was just such a failure, even though no one else really was bothered by it. Like, the couple loved the photos, everything was good. But we had to tweak a lot of things to get all the girls in sharp and mix them with other photos, and you know, it became a really big deal. Whereas that has never happened since, which is, I mean, of course you can get your settings right, but what I think is the difference is that if you would be able to just look for 1 second, like you can now in the camera, see that it's sharp by pushing the one button that zooms into where it's sharp. You know you got the photo and you're done.
True, true.
Whereas here, you look at the back, you can't see anything, you're not sure, you can zoom in and you can see that you think it's sharp, but it's not the same thing as really seeing it.
Yeah, and
like for real.
The good thing about this is that when you zoom into a photo, the camera will automatically find the sharp subject for you. So It doesn't zoom into the middle, but it finds, if the eyes are sharp, it will zoom into the eyes.
Yeah,
so you know
I guess
exactly.
I assume that people know that, but you're right. It zooms into the sharp area, which is why you can see it right away, and you know what you got. It's just a funny story. It was a very stressful event, but it worked out well. Again, the low light is amazing. I really like to shoot close to sunset, after sunset. In weddings, you have to shoot in low light all the time.
Yeah.
This is very low light. There's practically no light. You can see there's a bit of light on the guy's face over there, but it was very low light, and it handles it so well at even, that's like 8,000, right? So,
okay.
And yeah, I guess it is Matt Damon for the people out there wondering. So the thing I had to get used to sort of with Sony was that I was used to overexposing a lot, and also shooting film, you overexpose a lot. And with Sony, you underexpose a lot more, and you bring it back, because the ability to bring it back, I think, is incredible. And this image is it's a really good example of that, right? She's all backlit, the sunrise is behind her. This is at like 6 in the morning on the Amalfi Coast. And the shadows are amazing, like everything is amazing. But you still I still wanted her in the shot.
Yes.
But I knew, because I've been taught, that I can actually get away with underexposing a lot. And that was something I had to get used to, shooting with the Sony cameras, that it was backwards from what I was used to, the way I was used to shooting. But it didn't take me long to sort of see that also what I could bring back was so much better than what I could get the other way. So that's really, I think this photo just explains it.
Yes.
You know.
And that's true, because that's the quality of the image sensor. So the Sony's full frame image sensor from A7R3, for example, it has like a 14 stops dynamic range. So it means like what you do here, you can underexposure, and after in post, you can actually take out all the details.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's
And also
simply-
that it keeps the colors in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it really keeps the light and the colors, which is amazing.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a huge factor for me. And I always thought, well, and I think I said it to you when we first met. I said, but I always overexpose my photos. How am I going to now underexpose I can't deal with that. But it still creates the same result. It's just that you need to just rearrange how you shoot, and you actually get a better result in that way. I find it much easier, and I know that I can get it back.
So I was the guy who turned everything upside down for you,
Yes,
and
you did.
put you out of your
I was
comfort
like,
zone.
no, I don't want it. No, I don't like it. I don't know how it
I
works.
know you can do it.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a good example, and I think I wouldn't be here today saying it if it wasn't 100% true. I mean, I know probably most of the people also watching I would want to put my name behind it, you know. We talked about the silent shooting during the ceremony. We couldn't, I don't know how we would do without it. Silent shooting is a must for us. And on the second shooter, like I said, to not distract people. And usually, a lot of the times, we shoot silent for quite some time until there's noise at the actual wedding, and then you don't need it. And the only thing to look out for is the banding, and it's only certain lights. And now I think we've gotten pretty used to which kind of lights does it. Like we sort of know when we walk into a room if it could happen. And then, of course, you check for that. Yeah, again, like little kids get very distracted by cameras. You know, so it's just another example of the silent shooting for me, is that I want to be as invisible as possible. I think that's important. And do people have questions?
Let me check if we have any questions from the audience. And just to let you know, you are amazing, you guys out there.
They're writing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, some comments, but we don't have any questions so far.
Okay, all right, good.
So,
then we can keep
please,
going.
Yeah, don't be shy. Just go to your computer and write some questions.
Write anything you want to know. All the details.
All the details. We are here.
We're here. Okay, well, and then the other thing that I feel like this has changed the game for me is, and I'm not really actually sure how to explain that, but I think because I can see what I get, and I think not putting my camera down as much, not looking at the back as much, has given me this ability to use more of my time being creative, just shooting through it, using a lot of card space, of course. But I think a lot of that is like really pushing through, being creative in different ways, shooting different kinds of photos that I maybe wouldn't have shot before. I mean, Joe and I went to Mont Saint-Michel in France, went up at like 4 in the morning and sat and waited for the sunrise.
Wow.
And it was actually very dark in these photos. Because I have my style, I keep things light and airy, but it was very dark in these photos. It was still hardly sunrise, I think, or just after sunrise in these photos. The sun is over on the one side. But it's just allowed me to create more and to be more flexible with how I create and what I do, which I think is fun. And maybe it's even just the fact that you switch to something new that sort of gets you interested all over. You know, like you sort of get like a new angle on, because you've been shooting for so many years that you get a bit complacent.
Yeah, and actually it's quite funny that you say that, because I talk with a lot of photographers, and the photographers tell me that after they started to shoot with the mirrorless, they get more creative. And they get,
so it's a thing.
Yes, it is. And the interest of photography is coming back, because it's pushing them out of the comfort zone. But once they get used to it, they feel more creative, and they get the joy back of photography.
Yeah.
Compared to the old style photography with with the SLR or DSLR. So it is.
Okay, so it's a thing, actually.
Yes, it is a thing.
It's not just me.
No, it's not just you.
Okay, well, that's cool to hear. And this is another example for me of like pushing my limits in new ways and being creative. Getting up very early has been a new thing that I've never done before to this extent. And I truly, no, it just has, it has added a level of creativity that I didn't have before, I guess. And a lot of people that know me know that I'm known to shoot film. A lot of my clients think that I shoot just film. Actually, when they contact me, they're like, well, you're a film shooter. And I say, yes, I am also, but I do both. And I think being able to give people this film look, but not necessarily always shooting film, is a huge advantage. And I can create that, I think. I mean, you be the judge of it, but I think I can create that really well with the Sony cameras as well, which is something that I feared a bit. You know, I was scared that they were too crisp, they were too sharp. That depends a bit on the lenses, of course, as well. But with the lenses I have, I think it's perfect. Like it can give that film look, and of course that's a lot of posts.
So maybe, Sandra, should we take a couple of questions?
Of course.
Yes. We have questions from Søren Nielsen. Actually,
Hello,
he has two
Søren.
questions. He's asking, please tell a little about metering lights.
Metering lights.
Yeah, how do you
so
measure?
for shooting film, I guess, or well, yeah, I don't have my film camera. I shoot with the Contax 645, and I have a light meter for that because you can't shoot film without metering the light. If you can tell me more what you want to know, because it's not so easy to just explain. I guess for shooting film, you meter light. You always go up to the subject. I wish I had it with me. I'm so sorry I don't. But you go up, you hold it in front of the face, and you push the button, and you've set it to your settings on your camera, and therefore you meter the light. You usually shoot people in shade when you shoot film, and you meter for the shadows usually. So that's what I do when I shoot film.
Yes, great.
And I do shoot film. I'll say now, it used to be that I shot probably maybe 50% film, 50% digital.
Okay.
And now I'd say I shoot 20% film and the rest is Sony digital.
But
yeah.
I know that you have a very nice film camera though, Contax, so I really admire you.
And it's fun, you know, that's also again to get into the creativity and the sort of realness of it. And I also use it often to edit the images from. So I'll shoot an image in film because I love the look of the old film. And then I create my digital image to match that.
Oh,
so
that way.
It's just a way to work on that.
Okay, let's take the next question.
Yeah.
How much time do you use on pre-inspecting the location? Do you use some kind of apps for planning the sunlight?
Yes and no. What do we do? It depends. So because our work is everywhere, all over Europe and the world, we're usually there 2 days before. It does happen that we're not. I mean, but usually we're there two days before. I like, rather than using apps, I use them sometimes. You can see where the sunrise and sunset is. I don't find them so reliable, so I prefer to see it with my own eyes.
Wow.
I just rather. So yeah, we're there preferably a few days before, but always at the time that we're going to shoot. So we were just in Disneyland doing a big wedding commercial shoot for them, and 2 days before the shoot, I was there at 5 in the morning, looking at the whole light until it went away at 8 o'clock when I knew I had to stop shooting, because I had to shoot before the park opened.
Oh yeah, from 5 in the morning to 8 in the morning, and not 8 in the evening.
No, in the morning.
In the
so
morning,
I was basically just sitting there watching the light, so I knew exactly what I had to work with.
I see.
And I prefer to always shoot towards the sun. I like backlit images. So I also try to find locations that have that. So in terms of locations, I think that was the question as well, right?
Yeah, the location. Yeah, how much time do you spend on pre-inspecting the location?
I mean, I'll spend half a day, maybe something like this, depending on the location. If there's several locations, we always go to all the different locations to try to see them in the light that we're shooting in. Because I think that's the most important thing. You can see them at night, you can see them in the morning, but if you're shooting there in the afternoon, you want to see that light. You want to see which way you're going to shoot, where you're going to place yourself, and that's the most important.
That's the way to do it?
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So let's going back to Søren Nielsen. Again, I think that he is back to the light meter. So you don't use the light meter in the camera, always on manual.
Oh, okay. So for the Sony cameras, yes, we shoot on manual. Yeah.
Manual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or it depends, actually. Like I'll shoot it on the aperture setting. I think that works well as well. Right now it's set on that. For things like the church, maybe not we don't shoot in many churches, but for the ceremony, something that I know that I could be stressed because of other circumstances. I'm a lot with the bride, so that means that I oftentimes am managing her and talking to her and taking care of her needs and water and whatever else, as well as shooting. Yep. So I think I don't want to be worried about that. So sometimes we shoot on that. It depends on if I have time. It's always on manual. Yeah.
Okay. We hope that we answer your question, Søren. And then we have a question. It's a very common question, of course. And what kind of editing program do you use? We have a question here.
What kind of editing program?
Yeah.
Well, I use Lightroom for most everything today. We do some things in Photoshop as well. Less and less, I think. Let me think, what would I use Photoshop for? I'd use it sometimes for the liquify tool or some kind of slimming or some kind of something like that, but otherwise I think we do most of everything in Lightroom. Actually, we have our own presets that we use. Yeah, that's what we use. And you can do, today you can actually do most everything in Lightroom.
Yes, so Lightroom is your preferred?
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see, we have another question here from Carsten Breschel. I hope I pronounced it right. And he is asking, do you need to adapt your style when you started using Sony?
No and yes. Well, did I need to adapt my style? No, my style stays consistent because I have a client on the other end that wants my product, so I couldn't really change my style. However much I love like the dark and moody or all the other styles of photography that I love, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could just make it all stormy, you know? But that's not what my clients want. They want my style.
Yes.
And no, I mean, the cameras work differently with the exposure, for example. That's probably the only thing that I had to just get used to slightly, which didn't take me more than one shoot to know exactly. And if you don't do it, if you shoot like you normally do, nothing happens, because it can also handle the light the other way.
Yeah, that's true.
So it can handle it. It's just that you have the privilege of bringing in so much more to it. So I think my style remains the same, and that was probably my biggest fear, is that I couldn't recreate my style with a new kind of camera, because I knew I could do it with a film camera. I knew I could do it with what I had, but could I do it with this? And it's like I said, it was literally tweaking the presets that I had, very little.
Okay.
To renew them, because of course they have to have a few tweaks also in the colors and things like that to really fit to your liking, but it was minimal. I really didn't think that was a big deal.
Okay.
And I think I said it to you as well. I was like, but how do I do this? Like, one thing is shooting, another thing is producing the image once you get home. It's like,
cool.
Panic.
Let's jump to the next question. What do you do if it gets rainy? It's from Jan Jansen. What do you do if it gets rainy?
It never rains.
Never rains. The sun is always shining.
It never rains. Yeah, I get asked that all the time, and it does rain, especially if you shoot in Scandinavia, and it also rains in Italy and France and wherever else you go. Then it rains. I mean, I have a backup location sometimes, depending. If it's like heavy rain forecast, I will have a backup location. If it's going to be light drizzle, I tell my couples, this is going to be awesome. You know, it is what it is. We just had a big wedding, and it poured the entire time.
Oh.
And the cameras can handle it, right? Because they haven't been broken yet.
No way.
They're still here. They're still working.
They're weather sealed.
They are. They're
Yes.
weather sealed. I mean, you wouldn't. I've never put them in plastic bags, and I've shot in pouring rain, but with an umbrella or something.
Yeah.
But they do get wet. You know, it does get wet, but so far it hasn't been a problem at all. And like you say, they're weather sealed to handle it as well. I think, what do we do when it rains? We keep going. The show must go on. For weddings, there's no second chance, you know. So we just do it in the rain. We have umbrellas. We always have backup locations if possible. And we keep going. And we may have fun with it. We had a shoot where it was pouring rain. And I don't have the photo right here. I'm sure you can see it on my Instagram. The couple are with cute little umbrellas, kissing under the rain, and it's adorable, you know? And it really and the light oftentimes when it rains get really great. So
it's just to be creative and then make the best out of it.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly. And comfort your couples, because it's usually more them that are concerned about it more than us, you know? We put on a rain jacket and we go, but you want to comfort them.
Yeah.
So with an umbrella, they're usually good.
And let's take the last question here. It's from Daniel. How much time do you normally spend on the couple's photo session, and do you only use natural light?
So for the couple's photo session, we usually spend about an hour in total. But I don't go 1 hour. I usually split it up, so we have a little bit after the ceremony, and then we do some photos during the dinner. I usually always pull them out during the dinner, and the couples usually always agree to this. Of course, this is something you can talk to them about before, and most couples love it. You know, they have that little break during the dinner where we go 15 minutes, we go out, the light is great, and you get those awesome photos because that's where the light is great, you know.
Yes.
You can create all you want at 12 o'clock. It's never going to be amazing. But if you wait until, it depends what country you're in, Denmark, you know, 10 o'clock at night. But if you pull them out then, you get those stunning images that are just, for them also, the keepers.
Of course.
And so up to an hour, but they're never in a row. Like I usually split it up so that we have some time with them and some time again.
Yeah.
So that we have, also when they've had a few drinks, they're much more fun.
Oh yeah.
To shoot, you know, and they're much more relaxed and they get those natural fun images and kind of much more relaxed.
Okay, that's nice to hear. That's nice to hear.
Did I answer the whole thing? Or did you
I think we've been through all the questions and.
Natural light. Yes, natural light. Mostly natural light, sometimes a reflector. I have an awesome Profoto reflector that I use a lot. I don't have it here, it always hangs onto the bag. But I use that as well. Natural light always. If I can get away with that, and I can most of the time, I will. I mean, sometimes you have to add light. I also have the Profoto A1. And I use that at night.
Yeah.
You know, if it's dark, it's dark, and we can also fill in with other lights. So we do have that, but we prefer to shoot as much as we can without it. Also, because it disturbs a bit in a wedding setting. You know, it can become a bit disturbing. Yeah.
But by seeing your photos, you're going to beautiful places, exotic places where you have a lot of beautiful light.
yeah, we're lucky like that. But we do also shoot at home or here in Scandinavia. And Scandinavia has an amazing light, but it's just really late, you know. Yeah.
Then you should try midnight sun.
Exactly.
In Norway.
That's my next
midnight
goal.
sun. You can
I'd
shoot
love
all day
that.
long, all night long, and
Yeah.
still have.
I would love that. That would be so cool.
Why not? But besides photo, I know that, of course, you're not working alone. You have a team with you, right?
Yeah.
From time to time.
Yeah.
So you do both photos and also video work as well?
Yeah, so it happened that we, you know, once you start getting creative, you know, we're like, why are we not also doing video? This makes no sense. And so, I mean, we have a great team. Me and my partner Joe work together on all weddings. And then we have Ksenia, which is our studio manager, and she manages all the emails. She deals with anything, you know, all the clients. She takes care of them, which is also a huge service for our clients, that there's always someone there, because if we're traveling, we're not answering emails, you know, and you don't want to have your client constantly get an auto reply. You want to make sure someone's there to take care of them. So she's always there. She's also a wedding planner, so she knows everything about everything. So she's great like that. And then we have a team of photographers working for us. And when we all work together, we're all shooting Sony, because you don't want to have the hassle of trying to make the cameras work afterwards. Yeah. That's not really fun. Yeah. So that's really great. And so then we're like also getting into videography more and more. And the aim is that 2021 we'll do a lot more of that, because why not?
Do you see like increasing demand for video?
We're always asked for videography.
Yes, okay.
Always. And we always recommend great colleagues that we work with, because we so far haven't wanted to do it ourselves, mainly because of the editing, really, because that's the heavy work. But now we've decided probably, you know, maybe we won't do as many video weddings as we do the other weddings. We do about 10 a year, I'd say, of weddings. And maybe we'll do 5 where we also add the video, and we run 2 separate teams, like photo and video teams for that. So, but they're high-end weddings and they're high stress, and there's a lot, like you have to produce an amazing result. Yes. And nothing less, you know, so.
There's a lot more like post in video than photos, because you need to take care of the clips, you need to take care of the sound, and you need to make an amazing like transitions, effect, and so on. Yeah. But but it's of course, it takes longer time with the video, and that's why it's extremely important that you have one dedicated team or guy to only to do video.
Yeah, Joe is the main video guy. Like I'll do it, and I think it's fun to play with as well and be creative with. And I love like the girl running, and you get like those emotions into video more than photos. But he's definitely the one that got that covered, because it's such a different universe.
Yeah,
you know, it's such a different universe, and even though you can play, I mean, when we're working, you know, so he's definitely one on that. And 2021, you'll see a little video from us, I hope.
Wow, really, can I have a sneak peek?
Yes, you can.
Let me take a look. No questions right now.
Okay.
But now...
You have to check the Facebook as well, I think.
Facebook.
Okay, just to make sure.
It's actually quite similar questions. There's one, Lene Vestergaard. She's asking if you're using light during your shoots, but I think you caught that. You're using natural light.
Mainly natural light,
natural light,
and then sometimes fill in flashes, fill in other lights. I mean, now we were just on that shoot in Disneyland, which was kind of a fun story, and what we had set up for lights didn't quite work for us. We're like, this is not going to do it, because if you flash something and you're filming at the same time, it becomes very distracted. And so we're like, it won't really work for it, because you want something really magical and not very lit up, because it was like a fairy tale Disney wedding setup. And so we actually ran out and bought some little LED lights and put them in various places just to create a little bit of light. Oh. So we do get really creative with it and have fun with it. And we're like laughing at it, because we're actually having these little lights, LED lights, and we're wrapping them in McDonald's napkins to give it a better, softer light. Okay. Because we needed them in specific locations to lit up some trees that was part of the setup.
I see.
So, I mean, you should get creative, right? That's what's the fun of it. And we were giggling about it because it's a big job. It's a very important job for us. And here we are wrapping little LED lights in McDonald's.
Yeah, why
napkins.
not? If it works, then it
But
works.
it works. So we do use lights sometimes.
And seeing all your projects, all your assignments, you get. So what's the price level when you do your gigs?
Well, so when I started out shooting weddings, my first wedding, I remember shooting it for 2,000 crowns. And it was like, I was like, oh my God, I'm charging 2,000 crowns. What if I fail? Panicked. So that's where I started out, and everybody starts somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of controversy in the industry about where you start out and price-wise and stuff, but everybody has to start somewhere, is my opinion. And a few years ago, I think we were about 5,000 euros price range. And 2020-21 price list, fair to say that COVID put a bit of a block on our weddings this year, but the price list is, we start at 8,000 euros and it goes up to 35,000 euros. So it varies between that. It's basically packages. So the 35,000 euros is 3 days of photography, 2 photographers, 1 assistant, and they always have the team. So in that is always, they have our WhatsApp. We're always there for them. There's a lot of service that goes into not just the photography. Like a lot of it is actually the service around before the day, after the day, during the day, So sometimes I think that's important to sort of point out, because we do charge a lot more than the average photographer, certainly in Scandinavia, charges. And we get away with it, right? We have a good business, but I also think we provide a hugely high service for our clients day and night, which it requires when you're in those price ranges.
True.
And we didn't do that at 5,000 euros, but we do that now because it's required, and those are the clients we have. It's sort of expected.
Yeah.
It's a lot of American, Hong Kong clients. They're also used to a level of service that we have to live up to.
Yeah.
So I think that's just to explain, because people might go, oh my God, does she think she's that much better than everybody else? Which is, I mean, a photographer is a photographer. There's amazing photographers that charges less. That's just how our business works, and it works for us, and yeah.
Yeah, so there's much more than that, than photography.
Yeah, there is, but of course photography is what we sell.
Yeah.
That's what we sell, that's a product.
Your clients, is purchasing your style, your way of photography, and much more.
And they get to know us, we get to know them, and we care about all the details of their lives, and we get to know them. We're always on Skype calls before, and lots of Skype calls usually to get to know them and figure out what they need and what they love, and so usually they end up becoming friends.
Yes.
At the end of this, you've been through so much for a year or more with them, of all the ups and downs of planning a wedding. So I think
there's a lot of planning and preparations.
There's a lot. And then you have the 3 days of the photography, which is high stress, because you want to really perform for them. You need to, you have to. And
you travel a lot. I remember you and Joe told me that you never spend more than 1 week at a place or something like that. Is that true?
I think we figured out we had 3 years of not spending more than 2 weeks in one place.
Okay.
Ever. And I mean, this year has been wonderful. We spent lots of time in one place. And in Italy and in Sweden mainly, so it's been really nice.
Yeah, I saw your post from Italy. I wish I was there as well during the close down.
Yeah. If you're going to be locked down, then that's a good place to be.
So now we've been talking about the gear and equipment, because the camera is not perfect always. What do you see, what can we improve from Sony to improve your photography, to improve your wedding photography? Anything?
I think I think what I really struggled with a lot was the menu. Now
Yes.
I've learned how to set up my own menu, so then I can deal with it much better.
Yeah.
But I was like, who in the, like, it was so confusing to me to figure out the menu and the structure of it.
Yeah.
And it seemed very, like, I couldn't make that work for me, but now that it's set it up, yeah, it works. Like, there's not a problem now. You can make your own menu, and in that you have what you need. And whenever there's something I don't have in there, I run to Joe and I'm like, where's this other thing in the menu? I can't find it. No, but that has been my biggest struggle.
Yeah.
I think if you could improve something, it's some kind of, I don't know, ease where those things are in the menu.
I think that
It's coming.
it will be changed.
Okay.
But of course, it's you when you come from another platform to a
That's
new
the
platform.
thing, yeah.
You need to adapt and you need to get used to it.
Yeah.
And I know that photographers usually like spend. If you really want to go through the whole menu and learn how to navigate and control the menu.
I'm just not that kind of a person.
No, you just need to find the right buttons with the right
Exactly,
settings, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
usually it takes like 1 or 2 months to get into all the
Yeah, and I think if you
menu.
sit down and actually study it, which
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of a person, I just go and figure it out on the road, you know. But definitely it's doable. It's just that I'm.
But yeah, there will. I believe that we will improve the menu.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
good. I think that's my main thing that I would say is really, it was a bit tricky, you know. And the viewfinder, sometimes I found it tricky. I feel it's a bit contrasty for just for my taste and for my images, I guess. But no, you get used to it. That I really have gotten used to, so I wouldn't even say it as something that was super necessary, but I would still mention it as a thing that I think people would definitely, before you get used to it, that's definitely one of the things that you would
with a
see.
viewfinder.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
Should we take some questions?
Yes, let's take some questions.
Let's see. We have a question from Jan Janssen. It's a video related. Do you use gimbal for video or tripod?
Well, we actually use both.
Both, yeah.
But we're right now setting up all of our gear, and we're working with Focus Nordic on all of our video gear, so we'll know more about that shortly. Maybe we do a separate one on that, because we're not quite set up for the new year, and like now this is a thing that we want to offer. Of course, we're going to need more gear than otherwise, but we have both, and we would use both.
So we can expect something new coming from Sandra.
Give us some time. Give us a little time.
Okay, let's take the next question. Carsten Breschel. What is your delivery time? What does the client expect?
In our contract, we have 4 months delivery time, because usually in a year, this year it's not a problem, usually in a year we're always on the run, and I don't want to be stressed editing people's photos. I want to be able to sit down and do a good job. So we have 4 months in the contract, and all of our clients know that, they're made aware of it. And usually they're like, what? You know, it seems a bit steep, and probably people out there are like, Jesus. But it works for us, and I'd rather over-deliver. So within 2 months, on their 2 months anniversary, try to have their images ready. But it's not a promise that I would ever want to make, because since we're always on the move, you don't want to under-deliver. You always want to over-deliver, and if they expect it after 4 months and get it after 2, they're happy.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's better to be a little bit late than deliver something that unexpected.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
don't
truly agree
want
with that.
People to
Always do your best and deliver your best.
No, you cannot deliver anything but yes. I've said this at many of my workshops. It's like, guys, you do not deliver anything but the best, because your last work is your last work. You know, that's what you will be hired for going forward. So no.
Yeah, and you can maybe damage your reputation.
Yes, it makes me panic.
Reputation. Next question. I believe this is the last one. I think that we are running out of time very soon.
There's like timekeepers in the back.
Yeah, and
like,
from Carsten again. He is asking, and how do you deliver? Books, digital files?
I deliver everything in digital files. USB, I don't know, we don't do that anymore. Everything's digital. Our clients are all over the world. and we deliver it in a beautiful pick time, it's called, and it's online, and that's how we deliver it to our clients, and they love it. And then from there, they can create albums. And we usually encourage them to create print files, anything for their walls and albums and everything, but it's not, we don't deliver that in the packages. That's extra.
Yeah, because there are so many services today that you can
Exactly.
go. And I also really like prints, because like watching on a screen is not so
It's
charming.
not the same.
Not
No,
the
you
same.
have to
I
have
really love to watch on a like 13 by 18 centimeter print. It's wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's also when the pictures stand out.
It
I
is,
always
it
say to my
is.
clients, you have to print it. Like you have to print at least one photo, and we do deliver a little box of prints, depending on what package you have, but we do deliver that as well, so they get the feel for the photos on fine art print paper, and that completes the experience, you know, that's really what makes it amazing. So, yeah.
That is wonderful. I think that, guys, it's time to wrap it up. Sandra and me, we hope that you had a good time, and we answer all your questions, and that you enjoy our talk and this live streaming. So we just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank
very
you so much for watching.
Yes.
And you can always go to the Instagram, I guess it's the easiest to sort of, if there's any follow-up questions or anything you want to know. Technically, you go to sony.nordic. Anything else, you can go to me, Sandra Åberg. And that's it. Thank you for today.
Yes, and Sandra, thank you very much for your amazing talk. It was really a joy to have you here. And also, guys, remember to check out any new workshops that we will be doing with Sandra in the coming future. Just keep an eye.
Once we can. Once the world is normal.
Of course, when it's everything opens again. But we are trying to plan like a workshop with Sandra. So keep an eye, and see you soon in the near future.